This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 501, Hierarchy of Financial Needs and the Meaning of Life, part 1, by the Mad Fientist of madfientist.com. And I am Dan, your host. Welcome to a new week here on the show where I read to you from some of the best blogs on personal finance. And I narrate articles from Mr. Money Mustache, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, Get Rich Slowly, Budgets Are Sexy, and much more. Sort of like a really big ongoing audiobook, all free of charge. Now, today's post comes from the Mad Fientist, who also has a podcast. The show is called Financial Independence, and he has guests on the show as well, many of whom have retired early, so definitely check that out and learn more. And before we get to today's post, I want to give a big thank you to ZipRecruiter for their support of Optimal Finance Daily. Looking for your next great hire? ZipRecruiter offers simple tools and powerful matching technology to find you qualified candidates efficiently and effectively. It's the smartest way to hire. Try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/OFD. That's ziprecruiter.com/OFD. And also, I've got a big announcement today, but I'm going to save that for the end of the show. So for now, let's get right to our post as we start optimizing your life. Hierarchy of Financial Needs and the Meaning of Life, Part 1, by the Mad Fientist of madfientist.com. When I was in Ecuador last year, Mr. Money Mustache came up to me and said he was pissed off. Someone had been asking him questions about FI, but when the discussion started getting into the numbers, the person said that they'd just saved those questions for me. MMM jokingly asked me if that means he's lost his edge. Has writing about happiness and more philosophical topics resulted in him not being viewed as a financial mastermind anymore? Obviously, he was just messing around and wasn't really angry or concerned, but this topic actually came back up a few days later. After I finished my presentation to the group, Mr. Money Mustache raised his hand and said, "Fientist, it seems you too are turning soft in your old age. Do you not care about money or numbers much these days either?" Turns out my presentation had nothing to do with numbers. No graphs, no math, nothing even close. I laughed and said, "Yes, it is weird, but I don't think about numbers much at all now, and I'm starting to realize that money is the least interesting and least important aspect of this whole journey. I've built my whole blogging career on numbers, so it's been an unexpected turn of events, to say the least." After the presentation, I was chatting with some of the other attendees and was saying how I wondered why I stopped focusing on money as much. Thankfully, one of the attendees offered a perfect explanation for it: Maslow's hierarchy. Maslow's hierarchy. Maslow's hierarchy of needs shows what motivates humans, the relative importance of each need, and the order in which the needs are generally fulfilled. It starts with physiological at the bottom of the pyramid, then goes up to safety, belonging, esteem, and eventually self-actualization. At the bottom of the pyramid, the first human needs that have to be met are those necessary for human survival, like water and food. Once a person's physiological needs are met, focus then turns to safety. It's obvious safety is less important if you don't have fresh water to drink, so you'd need to focus first on finding water before then getting somewhere safe from predators. That doesn't mean you're not on the lookout for hiding places or shelter when you're searching for water. It just means water is your first priority and the other things are less important. So that's a really brief summary of how Maslow's hierarchy works. I'd say a similar hierarchy exists for financial needs as well. Here's what I came up with. Survival at the bottom, then sustainability, accumulation, independence, and at the top, utilization. At first, you need to pay for all the things that you need to survive. If you have to use debt to do that, it doesn't matter because you need to buy food to stay alive, so that's what you do. That is not sustainable though, so eventually you'll need to make enough money to pay all your expenses. You could live quite happily at the sustainability level for a while, but you're not necessarily safe there. One small injury or unexpected expense could derail everything, so ideally you'll soon reach the accumulation level. On this level, you make more than you spend, so you're able to save for future unplanned expenses. The next level is independence. Since it's likely you will be physically able to work your entire life, you eventually need to get to the point where you can pay all your expenses without working. Finally, you reach the utilization phase. This is when you know you'll never run out of money, so your sole financial focus is aligning your spending and giving to charities or heirs, etc., with your life's purpose. Usefulness of the pyramid. The hierarchy of financial needs is useful when talking about finances with other people, because it allows you to be more understanding of different situations and more empathetic. For example, it's easy for someone on the accumulation level to say, "Payday loans are bad and you should never use them." But if you're at the survival level and have no other way to put food on the table for your kids, it may be something you're forced to consider. And although we'd all like to think that independence is what everyone should be focused on, someone who is at the sustainability level may be too stressed to even think about something like that because they're just one unexpected expense away from big problems. So they first need to focus on increasing their income and/or lowering their expenses so they can reach the accumulation level. And then once they've built up a bit of a buffer, like an emergency fund, they can think more about investing and pursuing FI. My journey. When I started writing this blog, I was on the accumulation level, so my primary focus was getting to the independence level as quickly as possible. The problem was, I don't even think I realized there was a level above independence that I should also have been thinking about and planning for. In hindsight, this was a big mistake, because the real goal isn't to have a lot of money. As the idea of FIRE becomes more popular, it seems people are becoming more obsessed with FI, and all they want to do is talk about FI, read about FI, and hang out with others pursuing FI. This is useful for improving your finances, but may cause you to miss the real point. Financial independence isn't life. It's just a tool you can use to help you live a life that's most meaningful to you. It's a means to an end, not the end itself. The more you think about the top level of the pyramid while you're on the journey to financial independence, the easier and more enjoyable that journey will be. After achieving FI and accumulating more money than I had planned, I can now see the utilization stage more clearly. Is it the top of the pyramid? I'm not sure, but it's the level I'm focused on now, and it's what MMM has already been brilliantly writing about for years. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled Hierarchy of Financial Needs and the Meaning of Life by the Mad Fientist of and&nbsp. And thanks once again to ZipRecruiter for sponsoring this episode. A new year has begun, and if you're setting new goals for your business, you need the right people on your team. And ZipRecruiter has transformed how you find them. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 job boards with just one click. Then they actively look for the most qualified candidates and invite them to apply. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter has smarter tools that make the hiring process that much easier. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/OFD. That's ziprecruiter.com/OFD. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And I'm going to finish up today's article tomorrow. In the meantime, you can check out the Mad Fientist's podcast. It's called Financial Independence Podcast, and you should be able to find it wherever you're hearing this show. And by the way, got a big announcement for you today, as I mentioned up at the top of the show. While you're out there exploring podcasts, as of today, I have taken over one of the shows on our network, and that's Optimal Business Daily. That show was previously hosted by both Justin and Lee, but they want to spend some more time focusing on the business side of things, so they've decided to hand that show off to me. So you can hear my narration starting today on that show. It covers freelancing, productivity, entrepreneurship, and more. Again, that's Optimal Business Daily, so come visit me there as well. That should do it for today. Thanks so much for being here and listening each and every weekday. I will see you in the Tuesday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.